Alright guys, hey there and welcome to this next Let's Play. It's Ross again giving you a nice little Let's Play. Now, what happened recently was I did a preview on World of Warships. Now, going through this preview of World of Warships, I gave it a very good review, and for very good reason. This game is actually exceptional. It has brought a whole new benchmark to your you can't really call these MMOs, as they're still not very large, but it's brought a whole new level of battle to the series that is the World of. From World of Tanks to World of Warplanes to now World of Warships, it's just progressed and gotten better. Now, what they did say they were going to be doing in the future was they were going to actually be integrating all three games into one, making it so that you could, when you fly in World of Warplanes, you'll actually be defending real ships in real-time battles, and those real ships will be controlled by players as well. This is going to make the game even better. It's just it's mind-blowing. Alright, now as you can see, I have played the game already. We have quite a few ships here. All of these ships here are obviously done with the fact that this is the preview version of the game, and we're given a couple of perks such as high XP, high credits, and high tokens, giving us the chance to actually be able to just go crazy and just build as much as possible and just see what this game is going to be like, and obviously for them to find problems that they might not have seen. So as you can see, I have built one of the largest battleships that were ever done or made during World War II. This is the Yamato. As you can see, its main battery we're sitting with 3 cannons, and its secondary battery we're sitting with 2 cannons. Each of them have three turrets, not 3 turrets, 3 cannons, as you can see, and each one of them obviously deals a very large amount of damage. So right, let's get started. Let me show you what's going on here a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail with everything here. I'll just give you the brief overview of what you can do here. As you can see, you can upgrade your main battery, your hull, your gun, and your engines. Now, bearing in mind each ship has something different, so each ship will be designed differently. If you guys are veterans of World of Warplanes and World of Tanks, you know very well that when you do upgrade anything on the ship or on a tank or a plane, it makes the vehicle that you're using at the time look different as well. And that's generally when you work with the hull, or on the tanks the body, or on the planes the fuselage, and each one obviously will help in certain aspects. For example, with the hull here, it gives you more damage more capability to take damage, as it were. With your main battery, you obviously get more damage per second. So each time one of the shells hits a ship, it deals more damage. The more shells that hit the ship, the more damage is dealt, obviously. As you can see here, we also have upgrades. Now, we haven't got the ammunition and consumables yet. As you know, it is still a beta. This game is still a work in progress. But from what I'm going to show you today, you guys are going to either want to really want to buy this game, or you're really not. But I can see the market is going to be pretty much leaning on the side of actually getting this game. I'm not really buying the game, but downloading it. The market will definitely be leaning towards getting it, because this is one of those games that, even if you're not into sailing ships and things like that, it gives you a different feel of playing the game, rather than making it a tedious battle to fight when you go in and you're doing all this damage and you know, and taking more damage than dealing, and not being able to aim properly and things like that. It changes your whole perspective, your entire perspective of the battle. It's not as tedious as you think it's going to be. Alright, so as you can see here, each of these is a different change here, and just a little bit of history as well. I'm going to give you a little bit of history on this specific battleship here. The Yamato was one of 2 different ships that were designed, the Yamato class ship. There were 2 different battleships designed in the Yamato class, each of them being the largest battleship in World War II. Nothing was larger than this battleship. Now, the Japanese had hidden these ships for years before actually sending them out of dock to go and fight in the war. By the time they had actually taken the ships out of dry dock, the war was over. The Allies had found the ships, and they decided that these ships are too dangerous for anyone to have, and they actually scuttled both ships and they sank. Which is kind of sad to actually see, because I mean, I'm sure anyone would have wanted to see these behemoths in a port. It's scary to think that this is actually something that was actually what contributed to the Gears of War. It's just amazing. So yeah, the only place you'll ever see one of these ships now, I'm pretty sure, is in-game right here. Right, so we're going to move on. We're going to go into the tech tree. Now, I'm not going to go into profile. That's for you guys to figure out when you work with it alone. And also, it's going to give too much information away, so I'm not going to be doing that. So we're going to hit the tech tree quickly. You can have a look at what modules of ships you can get in here. Now, as you can see at the top here, you have battleship, cruiser, destroyer, and premiums. Now, everyone starts off obviously with a cruiser, and if you progress or when you progress further and further and further into the game, you can upgrade your cruisers right up to the maximum they can be. However, from this cruiser, once you've upgraded the first time, you can actually change it to a destroyer and work down the destroyer's line, or you can upgrade one more time and start working on the battleships. As you can see, that's what I did. I actually worked on the battleships. And this is all the Japanese ships, and as you can see, there are quite a few, and I'm not going to run through them all, but you can see that your options are quite wide. I mean, this is even at the beginning of the game, before everything is done, that you've got this many options already, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be adding more. Right, in the Americans, as you can see here, we have an aircraft carrier, a cruiser, and a destroyer. Sadly, I don't know if they're going to be putting in battleships for the American tree, but I really do think they should, as the Americans had some really awesome and really strong battleships in World War II as well, and it would be nice to see some of those actually featured here in the game. But as you can see, you do get your aircraft carriers right up to your Essex, and I'm hoping they can also bring those up to at least your Nimitz class, so that we can see the full size of your Nimitz class or aircraft carrier. But yeah, these are the ships that have been done. As you can see, I'm not the one who worked on the American ships, but these were designed here. And finally, the Russians. There are only 2 ships here at the moment. I'm pretty sure they'll be bringing in some more ships to obviously broaden the battle perspectives and things like that. Hopefully, they also bring in the other nations, such as the German nation, to be able to bring in some more of their battleships, because they also had some extraordinary battleships when World War II was actually fought. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run into a quick battle, and you guys are going to have a quick squiz of what it's like. Right, I can have a bit more of a chat with you guys about this. I mean, this is your loading screen. I'm doing a co-op battle so that you guys can see what a battle actually is like. Because when you actually go into PvP, it's not as... I mean, if I fight with a battleship in PvP, it may take hours for me to actually get connected in a battle. So I'm going co-op. Fortunately, with the co-op here, you don't actually fight. You don't need to fight alongside other players. You can actually fight by yourself alongside the alongside the NPCs. A fleet of your own of ships that you'll be fighting, well, I suppose alongside, you know. What other better way can you say it? So anyway, this may take a short while, so we'll just have to see how the loading time actually works this time, but generally it doesn't take too long. It's roughly about between 1 and 2 minutes that it actually it recognizes that there's a player in tier 10, and then it actually allows me in. As you can see, they haven't completed all the tiers yet either, which I'm pretty sure once the beta is done, and once they've actually finished all the programming for the rest of the game, it's going to actually get pretty intense. They're going to have a lot more tiers and things like that. Everyone knows, I mean, if you've played World of Warplanes or World of Tanks, you know that there is such a wide variety of vehicles you can choose from. It's not going to change in this, I'm pretty sure. They're going to bring out a much wider variety of ships, and there we go. We're going to be going to battle now. Okay, so just so everyone knows, I'm not very experienced at this game. I'm actually kind of horrible. I generally don't do all that well in battles like this, but it is still a fun game. I mean, even though the battles are quite difficult, I am playing with a tier 10 ship, so you'd expect it to be quite difficult. And obviously, if I were playing with a destroyer, I'd have a lot more speed and a lot more maneuverability. But you may frown on me for dying in the first few seconds of the game. Now, this is what the game looks like when you're in. Okay, as you can see, there's my ship. She's nicely parked at the dock. I'm not really fond of this map, but hell, it's a map, isn't it? Okay, so how we work is, instead of actually holding to speed up your ship, you press W to put your speed up. Now as you can see, my entire fleet is down that side, and I've got a few to the left of me, so... But now the ship is at full speed, as you can see. Now you can cut your speeds down and it'll make life easier. Believe me, it makes life easier, especially when you're fighting. Now what I want to do now is I'm going to send out my scout. Or not, as the case may be. It doesn't look like it wants to send me out. Okay, and you're turning, if you use Q and E, it'll hold the turn for you instead of actually you having to hold it in. But as you can see right now, we found a battle. So I'm going to press the shift key and we're going to go into controls. Now that little circle that you see slowly but surely veering or going left of my screen is actually where my cannons are aiming. The further the cannons aim, obviously once the cannons come into position, you'll see that they go green. Once they're green, I can fire. There you go. My cannons are green. Now what I've got to do is just zoom in a little bit so I can hit my target. Remember, always lead your target. You don't want to fire it directly at the ship because you will not get it right. And even now, if I miss, it's going to be quite embarrassing, but